In today's hyper-connected world, digital privacy is a growing concern for everyone, with so much of our daily lives taking place online, whether we're shopping, working, or simply connecting with friends. Questions about who controls our personal information have never been more important. A recent legal battle between Google and millions of users has put these issues front and center. The case has sparked national debate, with many people wondering just how much power big tech companies have over our private data. Just yesterday, a federal judge in San Francisco ruled in Google's favor, denying billions in extra penalties in a high-profile privacy case. This decision has major implications for both the tech industry and everyday users. The case, Rodriguez versus Google LLC, questioned whether Google should pay back profits earned from data collected in ways users found deceptive. Plaintiffs argued that Google's practices misled millions, while Google maintained it was transparent about its data collection. This decision impacts how tech giants handle our data and what rights we have as consumers. It also sets a precedent for future lawsuits involving digital privacy and corporate responsibility. We'll break down the lawsuit's journey, the arguments from both sides, and what this means for your digital privacy. Understanding these details can help you make more informed choices about the services you use every day. The implications go far beyond the courtroom. This is about the trust we place in the companies that power our digital lives. As technology continues to evolve, so too does the need for clear rules and protections. In the 21st century, our data is one of our most valuable assets. How it's used, protected, or potentially exploited affects us all, making these court decisions more relevant than ever. The lawsuit accused Google of secretly collecting user data even after users disabled a key privacy setting called Web and App Activity. Nearly 98 million users claimed Google ignored their explicit privacy choices, tracking which apps they used and for how long. Plaintiffs argued this was a violation of trust, as Google used the data to boost its advertising business. The case wasn't just about money. It was about holding tech companies accountable for respecting user privacy. At its heart, the lawsuit asked, where is the line between necessary data collection and an invasion of privacy? The plaintiffs believed Google crossed that line, turning a privacy feature into an empty promise. This case highlights the tension between free digital services and the true cost, our personal information. In September 2025, a jury found Google liable for collecting app data from users who had opted out. While the plaintiffs sought $31 billion in damages, the jury awarded just $425 million, a fraction of what was requested. The jury also issued an advisory verdict against forcing Google to pay back an estimated $236 billion in profits. This advisory verdict wasn't binding, but strongly influenced the judge's next steps. The jury's decision suggested that, while Google's actions were wrong, the financial harm was hard to quantify. The final call on whether Google should pay back profits was left to Chief U.S. District Judge Richard Seeborg. The September verdict was a partial win for users, but it set the stage for Google's later victory. The groundwork was laid for the judge's crucial ruling on penalties. After the jury's verdict, plaintiffs pushed for billions more in penalties, asking the judge to force Google to pay back alleged ill-gotten profits. On January 30, 2026, Judge Seeborg sided with the jury and denied the request. He ruled that the plaintiffs hadn't provided strong enough evidence to prove Google's profits came directly from the disputed data. The judge noted it's nearly impossible to isolate the financial impact of one data stream in Google's vast operations. Without concrete proof, courts are reluctant to impose massive penalties based on broad estimates. This capped Google's financial liability at $425 million, a manageable sum for the tech giant. The decision signals that proving direct profit from privacy violations is a major legal hurdle. The plaintiffs also wanted a permanent injunction to force Google to stop collecting app data from users who opted out. They argued that financial penalties alone wouldn't change Google's behavior. Their evidence suggested Google's privacy disclosures remained confusing and the data collection continued. They claimed only a court order could prevent ongoing, irreparable harm to users' privacy. Judge Seeborg disagreed, ruling there wasn't enough proof of future harm to justify such a drastic step. The court declined to force Google to change its systems, deciding the damage award was remedy enough. For now, Google's data collection practices remain unchanged. Google's defense centered on the argument that its data collection powers essential services like Google Analytics. The company claimed an injunction would cripple tools relied on by millions of app developers and small businesses. Google argued the data was aggregated and anonymized, used for legitimate analytics, not just advertising. The defense reframed the case as a threat to the broader tech ecosystem, not just Google's profits. Judge Seeborg appeared persuaded, declining to disrupt services that power much of the app economy. The court was wary of unintended consequences for third-party developers. Google's framing of the issue helped secure its legal victory. The plaintiffs argued that they had made a clear and deliberate choice to opt out of tracking, expecting their privacy to be respected. They claimed Google disregarded these preferences, continuing to collect data for its own financial gain, and in doing so, violated the trust of millions of users. The plaintiffs sought not only billions of dollars in disgorged profits, but also a sweeping court order to halt Google's data collection practices. They argued that privacy, once lost, is impossible to recover and that no amount of money could truly compensate for the violation. Their case was built on the principle that individuals should have meaningful control over their personal information in the digital age. In response, Google countered that its privacy policies were transparent and accessible, and that users were adequately informed about what data was being collected and how it would be used. The company also argued that the plaintiffs' calculations of profit were highly speculative and lacked a direct connection to the alleged harm. Google further maintained that it would be nearly impossible to isolate profits derived solely from the disputed data. The company warned that an injunction could disrupt essential services, potentially harming millions of developers and businesses that rely on its infrastructure for their own products and services. Ultimately, the court sided with Google on both major points. The judge found that the link between the data and Google's profits was too vague to justify the massive financial remedy the plaintiffs sought. Additionally, the court determined that a broad injunction would cause too much collateral damage to the broader tech ecosystem. Throughout the proceedings, Google positioned itself as more than just a profit-driven company. It argued that it provides essential digital infrastructure that supports countless businesses, developers, and even public services, making its role in the digital economy indispensable. The plaintiffs' push for sweeping remedies, while rooted in a desire to protect privacy, was ultimately seen by the court as too disruptive to the current digital landscape and the many stakeholders who depend on it. In the end, the judge's ruling reflected the immense complexity of balancing individual privacy rights with the practical realities and demands of the modern digital economy, where technology and personal data are deeply intertwined. This case became a landmark test of how far courts are willing to go to regulate and police the practices of powerful tech giants, setting important precedents for future litigation. Both sides presented arguments that will continue to shape the ongoing battle over privacy, technology, and the rights of individuals in an increasingly connected world. The legal fight isn't over. Google plans to appeal the original verdict and the $425 million damages. The case will move to a higher court, where Google will argue for overturning the liability finding or ordering a new trial. Appeals can take years, and both sides are preparing for a prolonged battle. Plaintiffs will defend the jury's verdict, focusing on the core finding that Google violated user privacy. Judge Seeborg also rejected Google's attempt to break up the class of 98 million users, allowing them to continue as a unified group. The next phase will play out in appellate courts, keeping the spotlight on Google's privacy practices. The outcome could set new precedents for tech companies and user rights. The debate over digital privacy is far from settled. This case is a wake-up call for anyone using digital services. Every time we log in, click accept or download a new app, we're making choices that affect our privacy, often without realizing the full consequences. In today's world, our digital footprints are everywhere and the risks are growing. Privacy settings may not always work as expected, and toggling a switch doesn't guarantee your data is safe. Companies can change their policies or update their apps, sometimes making it harder to control what's shared. Even when we think we're protected, our information can slip through the cracks. Our personal information fuels a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and free apps often come at the cost of our privacy. Advertisers, data brokers, and tech companies profit from our habits, interests, and even our locations. The convenience of free services is often balanced by the hidden price of our data. Holding tech giants accountable is difficult. Proving financial harm and forcing change is a major challenge. Legal systems move slowly, and companies have vast resources to defend themselves. For many, the process feels overwhelming and out of reach. Legal battles matter, but real protection starts with user awareness and demanding more transparency. When we ask questions, read the fine print, and push for better standards, we help shape a safer digital environment for everyone. Read privacy policies, review your settings, and be cautious about what you share. Take time to understand what permissions you're granting, and don't be afraid to say no to unnecessary data requests. The Rodriguez versus Google case shows that the responsibility for digital privacy often falls on us. While the courts can set important precedents, it's up to each of us to stay informed and proactive about our own digital safety. Courts can help, but they're not a silver bullet. Laws and regulations are important, but they can't keep up with every new technology or threat. In the digital age, vigilance is our best defense. Staying alert, updating our knowledge, and using available tools can make a real difference in protecting our privacy. The story isn't just about Google. It's about all of us navigating a connected world. Our choices, our voices, and our actions will shape the future of privacy for generations to come.